NFL preview. Washington Commanders versus the Dallas Cowboys. Boy, why did you people want me to pick this game? Boy, did you want me to pick this game? I don't understand. Had Dak not gotten hurt, yes, for sure, this would have been one of the best games of the week. But alas, no. Instead of Jayden Daniels versus Dak Prescott, we now have Jayden Daniels versus Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush certainly had a better game last week than he did the week before, but all things considered, he still looked awful and threw a horrible interception after the Cowboys picked off C.J. Stroud, and after that, there was really no chance of Dallas winning that game. Plus, kickers missing field goals, all the offense you can get were a great pass and throw to Cavante Turpin. Other than that, there's just not much to speak of for the Cowboys. And their defense, boy, has just not been the same. It's just not the same. I mean, I don't know what else to say about the Cowboys. They're just a disaster. And I'm sure many of you have realized until Jerry Jones gives control over to his sons who are more business oriented than actually football related than their dad, or selling it outright to another investment group or somebody else, I don't see things ever getting better. I don't see things ever changing for the Cowboys. And no, with the recent talk of Deion Sanders coming to Dallas, I don't think that's going to happen. Why? Why would he leave something in Colorado to come to Dallas, who's in a mess right now? They're terrible. Good on Dak Prescott. Good on CeeDee Lamb getting their money from the Cowboys while they can, because this team is awful. But let's get into it. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and let's get to it. The Commies are probably going to win this game. Just flat out saying that right off the bat. They're going to win this game. Even though it's a rivalry game, the Cowboys just aren't good. They're just not good. They weren't winning a lot of games with Dak Prescott in there, and now he's not there. How do you expect them to win more games with Cooper Rush, who, yes, has at times been decent in relief duty? Last time Dak Prescott was in for a long time, he led the team to like a 4-1 record, but that's a completely different team. That offense was better. That offensive line was more complete. They had a good running back in Tony Pollard. But they don't have any of those things now. The offensive line is fine, I guess, but not great. The defense, it just hasn't been the same. I mean, now you have likes of CeeDee Lamb and Trayvon, I think it was Trayvon Diggs, making music at a nightclub after a loss. That's not a great look if that is actually true. Rico Dowdle is their best running back, and at best, he's a change of pace back. He's not a lead running back. He's just not. Sure, he's made some plays here and there, but there's just not much there on that offense. I mean, even with the likes of CeeDee Lamb, one of the best wide receivers in the league, they just can't get much going. They can't sustain drives. And other than that one touchdown to Turpin last week, they weren't able to do anything. Even when they got turnovers, they just turned the ball right back over to the Commies. So the less we talk about the Cowboys, the better, because I just don't have much good things to say about the Cowboys. And yes, I'm a Packer fan, so me hating the Cowboys should be expected as blue in the sky. But I mean, I hope they figure it out, because it's better when the Dallas Cowboys are at least competitive in the league. But when they're not, it's even more pathetic. It's fun making fun of the Cowboys when they're doing really well, and then they blow it and they get blown out in a playoff game. That's fun to talk about. But when they're not even getting to that, and they're where they are now, 3-7, God, there's just not much to talk about. They're just a bad team. And it's just not going to get any better this week, especially with the Commies coming into town. It's in Washington, so even worse. Even though the Commies are riding a 2-game losing streak, they played against the Steelers, which was a really good game, and they, held the Eagles in check for a large part of that game. If not for Saquon Barkley getting loose in the end of the third, fourth quarter, Washington could have seemingly won that game. It's not like Jayden Daniels made a lot of mistakes last week. It's not like the offense made a lot of mistakes, and it's not like the defense of the Cowboys, which has been playing way above their heads for most of the year, made a lot of mistakes either. It's just Saquon got free and ruined their souls. And that's how she wrote. So the game really wasn't as close as it looks, but it kind of was at the same time. Washington didn't shoot themselves too much in the foot, but they didn't make a lot of plays. They spread out the ball to 9 different wide receivers. No wide receiver getting more than the other. I mean, Zach Ertz had a decent game at the end, had a touchdown at the end of the game, but McLaurin was held to like 2 receptions for 10 yards. Not a great day. And that's like the 3rd or 4th time he's been held to lower games like that. I mean, fantasy-wise, he's had a pretty darn good year. But NFL-wise, he's been held under 100 yards a couple times this year, with sprinkling a couple of really good games as well. So if Washington really wants to win this game, it would behoove them to get him going. Brian Robinson has been hindered with a hamstring injury, but was still able to go last week. Scored a touchdown, but was overall not too effective. Had a decent run here or there, but not too much. The defense, like I said, has been playing above where they normally are for the year. I mean, their secondary is still terrible. Marshawn Lattimore, the newly acquired cornerback from New Orleans, where they basically didn't have to give up anything for, is still hindered by the hamstring. We'll see if he's able to go. If he's able to go, that would certainly be a huge thing for them. Although, to be honest, it's best for him to rest up and get ready. Because for the stretch run, Washington plays one more game next week, and then they have the bye week 14, which I like to point out is retarded. I hate week 14 bye weeks. There shouldn't be bye weeks all the way up to week 14. The bye weeks should at most should have about 6 teams. If you had 6 teams on a bye week between week 5 and week 10, you could basically knock them all out like that, and then the last 7 weeks were all 32 teams playing against each other, and that would be best. But no, they space it out weird. I mean, I've been meaning to go off on a tangent like this for a while. You have 2 teams on a bye, then no teams on a bye, then 2 teams on a bye, then all of a sudden you got 6 teams on a bye, you got 8 teams on a bye. It doesn't make any sense. Just get them all, stagger them all, starting week 5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, and then the last 2. And then there you go. You got them all wrapped up in 5 weeks, and then the last half of the year, the last 7 to 8 games, are all pure football, all 32 teams playing each other for the rest of the way. That's how you do it. Not this wait till week 14. Especially, I know the NFL doesn't take fantasy into consideration, but the amount of money that's thrown into fantasy championship every year, and to have the last game of the year, or last game of your year, have some of your best players be on a bye, just seems extremely short-sighted. I know the NFL doesn't care about it, but they still love making money off of fantasy football players in the terms of bets and everything else. So that's tangent aside. It'd probably be best for Washington to just let Marshawn Lattimore recover. I mean, if he's able to go and he wants to play, good for him and good for Washington. But, I mean, if he doesn't play, I don't think it's really necessary because, frankly, even though it's a divisional game and these 2 teams do play each other rather well, I just don't see any reason for the Cowboys to win. I just don't. With the firepower that Jayden Daniels has alongside him, and then a great young running back in Brian Robinson, even one hindered by hamstring, the Washington should be able to win this handily. I mean, honestly, I'm thinking this game is probably going to be like 27-13, 27-10, something like that. But I do give the Cowboys at least a decent chance to pull off the upset just because it's a rivalry game. These teams both play well against each other for the most part, and it should be a good game, all good things considered. At least I expect Dallas to put in an effort early on. I expect CeeDee Lamb should have a decent game. If nothing else, Cooper Rush should be able to attack the secondary. The secondary of the Washington Commanders is really not that great. They have a good front seven, and they're able to rush the passer for sure really well. But with Frankie Louvu and other guys like that. But yeah, it's just going to be a rough day for it to be a Cowboys fan and a Cowboys player in general. So in the end, I am picking Washington to win 30-20. I'll give Dallas 20 points, but even then, I feel very not great about that. Dallas hasn't been able to sustain drives, and they made too many turnovers. So, I mean, Cooper Rush is going to be the quarterback. So, because from what we saw from Trey Lance a couple weeks ago, it's just terrible. Trey Lance is certainly not the answer. The 2020 draft is going to come down as one of the worst quarterback drafts of all time. Just the amount of misses that were happened in that draft is just going to be a legendary status. I mean, Trey Lance, if he was really that good, he would have taken the job from Cooper Rush after Cooper Rush's first start and just been the starting quarterback for the rest of the year. But alas, he ain't that great. As a result, Dallas is stuck with Cooper Rush throwing interceptions and not being able to sustain drives. So Washington should win this pretty easily, but it should be close for most of the game. Dallas will always just be at an arm's length with a potential shot if they made a play here and there, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Washington wins 30-20. Let me know what you think down below. And as always, if you're a Cowboys fan or you're a Washington fan, let me know if I gave your team good credit and everything and did a good job analyzing their teams. I think Washington has a really good chance. I don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl this year, but they could make some more noise in the playoffs. But that all hinders on them winning this game and the next, and going in hot into their bye week. That would be really nice for them, especially since they have to play Philadelphia again. They need to be ready for Philadelphia. Otherwise, can't get beat badly by Philadelphia twice. They just can't. It's just not a good look. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Otherwise, have a great day. Go back on, as always. God bless.